Hello Scapers, 9HP here, and happy Halloween. In today's holiday special we are diving into the top 20 creepiest monsters in Runescape in order from least to greatest. I tried to stay away from major raid bosses, dungeoneering monsters, gods, along with event and holiday monsters, and attempts to diversify the list up a bit more. This sadly means that the awesome zombies from the Dimension of the Damned event did not make the cut. Please keep in mind that these are just my own personal opinion, but let me know some of your own personal favorites below in the comments. Anywho, let's begin the countdown. Starting our countdown off at number 20, Faceless Servant. The Faceless Servant is a human encountered during the Broken Home quest. The Faceless Servant appears to be based on the Japanese legend of the Nopira Bow. Nopira Bow most frequently appeared in bathrooms, and the room in which the Faceless Servant is found appears to be the bathroom of the mansion. Though she may be more weird than creepy, it does not help that she ends up getting devoured as a meal later on in the quest. Coming in at 19, Gregorovic. At rank 19 because I did not want to use any bosses from the God War dungeons. Now this one I had to hold back, but as he is not a god and I simply love his character's creepy design, he just had to make the list. Gregorovic, also known as the Faceless One, is the General Slisky's army in the heart of Gielinor, aka the God War's Dungeon 2. Gregorovic was a fatally ill human of the 4th Age, who was desperate to avoid death. In hopes of prolonging his life, he captured some elves living in Gielinor and employed torturous experiments to unsuccessfully extract the secrets of their long lifespans. When this failed, he sought out Slisky and offered him his soul in return for eternal life. Slisky accepted his offer by then killing Gregorovic and resurrecting him into a monstrous new form resembling a macabre jester with an insatiable yearning to consume. Slisky told him in order to maintain this form he must consume other beings, and by doing so would become more powerful. Gregorovic submitted to Slisky by swearing loyalty to him. Gregorovic's design was inspired by Voldo from the video game series Soul Calibur. Coming in at number 18, Hopeless Creature. Hopeless creatures can be found in Tolna's Rift. Now there really is not much of a backstory to the Hopeless creatures unfortunately, but when you see the way that they crawl around in game, you certainly will not forget them. 17, Tormented Soul. Tormented souls can be found during the Enema Islands D&D along with on the Uncharted Isles. They are the spirits of citizens of a long-lost world that Tuska devoured. Their examine text states that they are begging to be freed. A bit creepy when you think about being tortured to the point of wanting death, but never actually being able to pass on. While they originally came from a part of the Tuska Comes event, Tormented Souls are graphically identical to Vile Ghosts from the 2014 Halloween event. Number 16, Abyssal Demon. Abyssal Demons can be found in the Wilderness, Cardinal's Dungeon, Abyssal Arena, and in the Slayer Tower. The Abyssal Demons found on Gielinor were originally summoned by a team of researchers in Vigora's Folly, who opened a portal to the Abyss. The Abyssal Demons remain there to this day. Abyssal Demons are said to be cannibals, actually eager at the idea of consuming their own kin, which is pretty creepy. They are able to steal the power or essence of whomever or whatever they consume. Abyssal Demons also have the unusual ability of teleportation, using it not only for teleporting around players, but also to teleport the players themselves at the same time. Coming in at 15, Crawling Corpse Torso. Crawling Corpse Torsos can be found in the 4th room of the Lumbridge Catacomb Dungeon. They were created by Dragath Nern, a now undead necromancer who used stolen corpses as experiments. Crawling Corpse Torsos are the aftermath of these experiments, after resurrection, forced back to life unwillingly to crawl Gielinor until death finds them again. Coming in at number 14, Abomination. The Abomination can be found in Tarshak's Sanctum in the Brimhaven Dungeon, and is the final boss of the Hero's Welcome quest. Sadly, there's not much of a storyline behind the Abomination, but what we do know is that the Abomination is a mutated form of the Dragonkin Tarshak. Number 13 on the list, Ravenous Ghoul. The Ravenous Ghoul is a monster found in the crypts below the graveyard north of Canopus. Though there is no information on Ravenous Ghouls, we do know that if a player has Blood Essence equipped, all ghouls in the crypt will become highly aggressive, meaning they are likely attracted to the sight or scent of blood, causing the ghouls to go into a ravenous blood frenzy. Savage indeed. Number 12, Chaos Elemental. The Chaos Elemental dwells in the far north section of the Wilderness, just west of the Rogue's Castle. The Chaos Elemental is one of the strongest monsters in the Wilderness, even overtaking the King Black Dragon. Just like the Abyssal Demon, They have the unusual ability of teleportation, using it to teleport players closer into its grasp. The Chaos Elemental also has an ability called Madness, which causes a player to remove their main hand weapon and randomly remove up to 3 equipped items. Currently, this monster holds the record for having the largest drop tip with 128 different items. Coming in at 11, Homunculus. The Homunculus is a huge creature brought to life during the Tower of Life quest. It was created by 3 alchemists, Effigy, Currency, and Transmute. The Homunculus was born into a great deal of pain, begging its creators to let it go, but they refused, making belittling comments and demanding that the Homunculus be quiet until it broke free one day of its cage and scared away the alchemist. It now lingers the tower in confusion, being unable to comprehend both magic and logic. Here's a comparison of just how giant the Homunculus is to a human. The Homunculus in Runescape seems to be loosely based off of the show Fullmetal Alchemist. In the anime, Homunculus refers to the medieval legendary concept of an artificially created human, presumably brought into existence by certain means of strictly banned practices of alchemy, just like the Homunculus in both the anime series and Runescape were. Though the Homunculus from RS resembles more of Nina as a chimera, in my opinion, as she was a failed human transmutation and shares the same tortured traits and sad demeanors as the RS Homunculus. Coming in at the halfway mark on our list, number 10, Experiments. Experiments can be found in the Experiment Cave, which can be accessed during the Creature of Frankenstein quest, which in my opinion actually adds to their creepy vibe in its own way. All 3 creatures have a personal reference in which they may have been created after. Like the Homunculus, the wolf-human experiment may be a reference to the Japanese anime Fullmetal Alchemist as well, specifically the character Nina Tucker and her dog, Alexander. The Spider-Man experiment may be a reference to Spider-Man himself, obviously, but it also resembles one of Sid's mutated toys from the Pixar film Toy Story. Now, when I was a kid, that thing personally used to creep me out, and is probably single-handedly the reason that the experiments made it onto this list. Lastly, the sheepdog experiment may refer to the saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Number 9. Confusion Beasts. Confusion Beasts are encountered in the confusion area of a Soulsbane, or in Tolna's Rift after the quest. They are indeed confusing, even with their contortionist-like movements that, in itself, is a bit creepy. This is not how they earn their name, though. Confusion Beasts can create hallucinations, which can cause the player to see 5 beasts at once, with only one of the 5 beasts being the real one. While the other 4 can still damage the player, they cannot be damaged. They instead disappear after the player hit them 8 times. When the real beast has been killed, one of the doors in the area disappears during a Soulbane's quest. Number 8. Necreal. Necreals are Chthonian demons that can be found on the top floor of the Slayer Tower, and also in the Chaos Tunnels. They are actually the only monsters that drop rune boots. The old graphics of a Necreal had a pentagram on its chest, a symbol for many occult meanings in many religions. It is also a symbol used to summon demons, which may be tied to the Necreal's ability to summon 2 death spawns in combat. Meanwhile, in the current graphics, they don't even have a chest, featuring a body that has been cut open and hollowed inside out. This always appeared a bit creepy to me because it looks like it could consume you whole, with a face that looks like that's exactly what it intends on doing. Lucky number 7, Edimu. Edimu are creatures found in the Edimu Resource Dungeon in Perfidious, which requires 115 dungeoneering to enter. They are spirits that inhabit the bodies of the undead, in which their examine claims it sucks life out of its victims, which means the spiritual zombie could likely inhabit a living human. Killing them has a chance to spawn a more powerful Edimu from the death of the last one. It's a bit creepy to think of a monster that seeks corpses as its victims, but this is likely related to the Sumerian mythology. The Edimu were the ghosts of people who were not buried properly. Number 6. Ripper Demon. Ripper Demons are Chthonian demons that have been found in the caves under the Abbey of St. Elspeth Cathedral. The lore behind Ripper Demons can be found in the Miner's Journal and the Diary of Jebediah Omnis. It tells of a prospector named Jebediah Omnis who hired a group of miners to excavate a new mine underneath the abbey. The miners reluctantly agreed, finding no ore in the process. One night when they tried to leave the mine, they found that the entrance had mysteriously disappeared. Jebediah reanimated the mangled corpse of the Ripper, allowing it to search for a new host. Over the course of several days, the remains of the previous Ripper started to latch on to members of the excavation party, painfully warping their bodies and turning them into Ripper demons themselves. Jebediah Omnis turned out to be a vengeful Zerasian zealot who wanted to please his lord in reviving the legend of the Ripper. I have to say, Jagex really killed it with the concept art and just all-around feel of the Ripper demons, which certainly earns it a spot on this list. Number 5. Ghast. Ghast are undead souls of people that starve to death in the Mortmire swamp where they reside, constantly trying to feed their hunger that can never be filled. When encountered, Ghast will always try to turn players' food into useless rotten food. If the player is not carrying any food, the Ghast will attack the player instead. So yeah, be extra safe with your Easter eggs and pumpkins. Now there are 4 stages in the transformation from human to Ghast. Stage 1. At first the human looks hungry, but normal. Stage 2. The hair color will begin to fade. Victim's skin will turn purple adjacent color. The hair will become completely gray and might fall out or grow even more. The cheeks and nose begin to slump, and the skin turns to a more brown color. The white of the eyes will become slightly yellow. Stage 3. If the person still hasn't eaten, their skin turns blue-gray and loses elasticity. The white of the eyes is now completely yellow. Stage 4. Finally, the victim turns into a ghast, at which point they can no longer be cured. Creepy! Number 4. Grotesque. The Grotesque can be found at the Nexus. The Grotesque is a hideous manifestation of the evil beneath Lumbridge Swamp, and it is also the reason for the swamp's tainted appearance. Its hands and occasionally its body emerge at the Nexus in the swamp, while its hands can always be found as wall beasts in the Lumbridge Swamp caves. If the streams of Nexus are arranged correctly 5 to 8 times in a row, then the Grotesque will appear for a few seconds, which allows the player to click on the Grotesque to banish it. The Grotesque embodies the entire Lumbridge Swamp, taking shape in many forms. Now making it to the top 3. Number 3, Cacus. Cacus, also known as the Penance King, is an enemy encountered during Wave 10 of Barbarian Assault during Hard Mode. He cannot be slain by any normal methods and can only be killed by using a special weapon. After Zeros was banished and Zamorak led a rebellion against the Chthonian demons, Cacus and the rest of his kind were either slaughtered or banished to the Abyss. Here, Cacus brooded and survived on detritus brought to him on abyssal currents. It is said that these currents slowly moved him closer to the world of Gielinor. When nearing Gielinor, he sensed a Fremnat named Asa in her dreams and devoured her soul. Asa isolated herself in an underground cave where she awaited her death, after which he created a portal from her body and entered Gielinor. Now calling himself a king, he spawned penance queens for his own essence, which in turn spawned the penance race to Barbarian Assault. Definitely a most interesting and creepy backstory indeed. In Roman mythology, Cacus is a fire-breathing giant. Number 2. Mother Malum. The Mother Malum, also known in its ancient Saradominus language as Mahiish Medron, is the ancient queen of the sea slugs. She is described by the Temple Knights as a great evil due to her and her slugs' ability to attach themselves to someone's neck and take over their minds, effectively turning their victims into mindless servants that do Mother Malum's bidding. The victim's skin also turns to a sickly yellow color. A longer possession results in certain aquatic features, such as gills and fins developing upon the host's body. If freed from possession, the victims are unable to recount what happened, and their mind is left in its state prior to their possession. She attempted to achieve global domination on Gielinor in the late 4th or early 5th age, having already accomplished this in other worlds by possessing very important political figures. But this plot was narrowly stopped by the Temple Knights. She was then imprisoned but escaped in the 5th Age, when she was permanently defeated, ending the Sea Slug conflicts. There are actually 2 versions of Mother Malum, the current from the Slug Menace quest, and the other version from the Salt in the Wound quest. Mother Malum is cruel and confident, deeming her plans impossible to fail. Aside from mind possession, Mother Malum is capable of telepathy and telekinesis, and perhaps other types of magic as well, for she is known to be able to cast teleportation blocks. How Mother Malum came to be is unknown, and the earliest records of her are in the Temple Knights headquarters, which cannot have been written earlier than the middle to late 3rd Age. However, the Slug Queen is known to be much older than that, due to the fact that she invaded realms before Gillinor's creation. The name Malum, translated from Latin, means evil thing / disaster, thus making her, quite appropriately, the mother of evil and rank 2 on this countdown. Now for the number 1 spot on our list. This one is straight out of a nightmare, and he goes by Sinisianus, also known as the Ghostly Waif. Sinisianus is a Chthonian demon from the Second Age, encountered during the Broken Home quest. Sinisianus' creepy tale begins with a young orphan girl named Rowena that he became quite fond over time with as a human. One night, Sinisianus goes into the alley and gives Rowena bread. While the little girl ate her bread, the hunger that Sinisianus had suppressed from his demons became too large to control, and the demon instinctively devoured Rowena whole, absorbing her essence entirely. After this, Sinisianus became insane and was committed to Sintistine's insane asylum. During a rare interview, Sinisianus was questioned on the events that led to his institutionalization. Sinisianus calmly described his time as a human accountant and his experience with the girl, but when he began to describe what happened to Rowena, he again went insane and attempted to attack the interviewee. Sinisianus was restrained and returned to his cell, where he remained for the next several millennia. After the fall of Zeros, he was forgotten in the asylum for thousands of years, until in the 5th Age, Ingram discovered a passageway into the abandoned asylum. Sinisianus then escaped the asylum, having gone even more insane after all these years. In his madness, he transformed himself into the girl he killed and played around in the mansion, thinking he was himself Rowena. He later eats the ghost of another child named Lenian. His insanity manifests this monster upon his victims, who mainly were children. The definition of creepy monsters in my personal opinion. And that is why Sinisianus has earned the number 1 ranked spot for the top 20 creepiest monsters in RuneScape. But wait, we are not ending it there. I still have one other monster that I just couldn't decide between for the first place. Now, unlike our current first place holder, this monster can't be killed and has single-handedly killed the most players since its introduction. While it is more evil and scary than it is creepy, I felt it was important to add to the list as it forever changed the aesthetic, integrity, and balance upon the entire world of Gillinor itself, leaving devastating effects in its wake upon all players. So, tied for the number 1 spot is Alice and Yelp. Just joking, as a pay-to-win activist, I couldn't help myself. Except, I'm kinda not joking at all with how out of control and overpowered the MTX XP promotions have gotten, with greed over integrity. But, I digress. For real though, this Halloween special was a ton of fun making, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know down below in the comments what is the top 3 creepiest monsters in your guys' opinions. Happy Halloween, Scapers, 9HP out.